Yep, here he comes. Riding his trusted steed through the Sierra foothills as he brings you the news.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
He calls himself
CharLee!
What you doing, Charlie?
Sorry, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. There you are. Look how cute you are. Yeah.
Hey, Charlie. What's with the dark glasses?
And now, here he is, a man of God, living in a world of Disney.
Ow, Charlie!
CharLee Simons.
Charlie bit me.
I have a great honor of being here for this. Is a third or fourth Take Our California Back symposium, event, everything.
Whatever you want to call it.
It's everything. And one of the featured guest speakers has become one of my heroes. This is Clint Curtis. He's the Registrar of Voters in Shasta County. He's the one that was integral. Well, first of all, you and Supervisor Cry, and a couple other folks worked on getting rid of the voting machines.
Chris Kellstrom, Corky Harmon, and Patrick Jones.
Yeah.
When he was on there.
Yeah, fantastic. And of course, the left lost their ever-loving minds trying to do a recall of Supervisor Fry and the whole deal.
Right.
But that was not successful, thank God. They didn't count on you.
They didn't count on me. Yeah. So now we're here just making it all right. We're actually have some sort of chain of custody for things, which they didn't have before. They just stuffed the ballots wherever they wanted to. They kind of did whatever they felt like. So their elections were probably not even close most of the time.
Some of the dirtiest in the state, and now that's the cleanest.
Yes.
I mean, you've done such an extraordinary job cleaning up that whole Registrar of Voters office in Shasta County. Congratulations.
We put everything under camera so everyone can see it every minute of the day.
Well, here's what happened. They got rid of Dominion, right? But the state of California stepped in and passed a law immediately that California had to use the machines, period. You didn't even have a choice. You came up with a way to bypass that, or at least go around it, didn't you?
Well, we came up with a way to basically neuter them.
Yeah.
Essentially, they had the machines, you put them through. You weren't allowed to really check anything. You can't see the source code. You can't actually examine anything. It's completely off limits. So you are forced for blind trust in whatever that says. So what we have done is we put cameras above everything, and we actually flip through the ballots before it ever touches the machine. So the citizens can actually go and see exactly what the totals are. And they'll know if the machine counted correctly. And if it didn't, you now have evidence that you can use in court to say, this is the bad count, and here is the good count. And we do it once before. We send it through the tabulators, and then we do it again because the third one, a lot of people wonder, why do you do that? Because now you have the first one and third one. The third one becomes the ballot of record. So you have to make sure that it is still correct. Because as a programmer, you can change anything.
It is so simple.
It's so simple.
They literally, and it was cheap. That's the
cheap.
thing I love the most about it.
It's about,
and he didn't even use like fancy cameras or anything. He used cell phones, which have got very good quality cameras.
Great cameras. Great cameras. Sometimes the cell phones aren't that great, but the cameras are perfect. So you might get a cell phone that's
not even hooked up to the internet or anything like that. You're just using the camera feature.
Using the camera feature, you drop it down using a program called Droid Cam, which allows it to be used as just for a camera feature. You drop it into a free program called OBS, which allows it to be live streamed as well as recorded. And that's what we did. So all of our ballots were live streamed and recorded before they ever touched the tabulator, which means the tabulator is neutered, because if it goes bad, it can be caught.
You just saw it.
Right.
We all just saw it.
It also eliminates a lot of the issues with candidates if they think if their contest is close. They can now go through and tabulate it themselves to see if it's correct. If it is, then they don't have to waste money on a recount. You don't even need that anymore. And if it isn't, you now have definite proof that it's wrong. So when you do recount, you know exactly where it is, because it's also a little timestamp at the top. So you can actually find which batch is wrong and what the numbers are and all that. So it kind of clears the whole thing up.
And he's doubled it up. You'll count literally every single ballot. Boom, right there in front of the camera. The camera sees this. Okay, there's that ballot for this person. There's that ballot for this initiative. There's that ballot. Yes, and this is how they voted. Put it into the legally enforced, have to use the
required
vote counting machine from the state of California, and then you count them again. You do it again.
Do it again.
Camera to make sure it matches up and nothing's changed.
Right, and it's actually faster than if you don't do it that way, because if you only have two people, the tabulators we had maxed out about 3,000 per hour. That's how many ballots could go through it. So with the people doing it that we're doing it, you don't have to thumb through them because you're kind of doing that when doing the count. You then put it in the tabulator. You have another guy that's helping with watching that so he can do the figures for you, and then he does the final count. But the only thing you lose with that is the first count. And that's the only thing you really add because the rest of it just flows. And while they were doing it before, it was 1,200 is what they got out of the tabulator. That's a max out of a 3,000. We get 2,700 out of that same tabulator because it's a constant flow. And
how's the state of California going to try and throw a wrench into that?
I don't know. They have meaningful observation all through their code. So if they
meaningful observation.
If they tried to pass a law that says that's too much meaningful observation, then I guess I'll have to take them to court. But I don't think they'll want that because that's kind of pretty much admitting that they're trying to hide the ball.
And it will call attention to what you're doing, and other counties might start doing the same.
Right. Well, they should anyway.
How many registrar voters? Maybe you can't even answer this question. Give me a percentage off the top of the head, ballpark, or like you are really that interested in putting in the work to making sure every single election is completely honest.
Well, most of them are not.
Because it is an elected position,
right?
And we don't pay attention to those races.
Well, sometimes it's elected. Mine is elected.
Yeah.
But
some are appointed.
Yeah, mine's in June 2nd, so you got to elect me again to make it happen.
Good.
But some of them are actually appointed. So, talk to your supervisors to get in here because actually it helps the ROV substantially. Because if you don't think the machines are wrong, you can actually prove it. It shouldn't hurt the system at all, right? Because you're not really adding anything. You're not adding any time really because, you're validating it and that's up to the public to do it. And so the ROV can basically say, well, I'm going to run the election. And if the machine is wrong, I'm glad that you caught it and I'll fix it. As opposed to, oh no, the machines are right. Because they don't know. They're not programmers, they're not lawyers. They're just a guy looking at a screen that was told it's fine. So, instead of having to defend the equipment, they can actually make sure the equipment's counting correctly.
And we've been told that all the systems are completely honest and above reproach, and you can't tap into it with the internet, so it can't be hacked. How true is that?
That's not true at all.
Not true at all.
As a programmer, there's 1,000 ways to hack in to a system that, even if it's not connected to the internet is HTTP, FTP, a few other protocols. But there are other protocols. There are cell towers. There are microwaves. Back in the old days when I started programming, we actually sent everything to the house wiring. So if you plug it in the wall, it's now networked. And you can still buy those today. You go on Amazon and put in network through house wiring
and all that, yeah.
And you have to go right through your house wire and you're good to go. So it's just so simple to do it, and people don't understand how it works.
Another thing they don't understand is many of these machines, maybe even all of them, actually have Bluetooth in them. Why would they have Bluetooth capabilities in these computers if they're not going to be hacked in from the outside?
Right. You can use Bluetooth, but there's so many ways for a programmer to set up a different protocol. Because once again, Bluetooth is basically a protocol. This is the signal I'm sending, and this is how I receive it, and this is how I talk to it. That's really all it is. There are thousands of ways to do it. And so to say that it can't be done is like crazy. I saw a Secretary of State, I can't remember what state it's in now, but they were up there giving about how the computers are air gapped, which means there's no network plugged into it. And then they picked up their cell phone. I'm thinking, do you not understand that there's no such thing as air gap anymore? It just doesn't matter. You don't have to be plugged in. When you're talking on the telephone, you don't have to have that cord hooked into your wall. Yeah. Air gaps make no difference anymore.
You've been working a lot with Dr. Douglas Frank, who's another one of my heroes. He has proven time and time again to all these he goes to all these counties. There's 58 in California?
Mm-hmm.
He's been to, I think, all of them. And he's worked with guys like you, the ROVs, Registrar of Voters, and the clerks and so on, and has shown them when they say, oh, no, you can't tap into this. He'll sit right there and do it in front of them. Go, oh, really? Well, let's watch this.
Right, because it's not the case. And they don't even know. In fact, they're not even allowed to know. They're not allowed to test it. They're not allowed to check it. They can't do anything. And by not being able to do anything, they're just doing blind faith. Well, then, it's perfect. You can't tap into that. How do you know? Well, I don't, because I didn't do anything to find out, right? But you're not allowed to.
This is brilliant what you're doing with the counting on camera. Before and after it's run through the machine.
Because it doesn't matter if the machine cheats you or not.
It doesn't take that much money.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it's a cheaper way to go, isn't it?
Cheap. It's because basically, not only
it costs you like $1,800 to set this all up.
For the entire county.
Yeah.
For each of your tabulators, it costs about $300 to set up with the phones and the other things,
How much do the little fake vote counters cost? Sorry, alleged fake vote counters cost. How much do they cost?
Tabulators are pretty expensive. You probably have $100,000 in each one of them.
Yeah, at least.
So,
and you have to, according to the state of California, use those now. Period. Yep. Very dirty. Whole damn thing so dirty.
But if they're perfect, then they're perfect. Mm-hmm. You'll have video to do it. Now in Shasta County, everybody knew I was watching it because got a thing, including the vendor, and our machines were perfect.
How about that?
So we had no misses. We had no big, number of extra votes that had no voter tied to them, because most of these counties have that. In fact, Shasta had 2,800 more votes than voters in the previous election. And I just came back from Riverside, where supposedly, and I don't know because I haven't validated their stuff, they had 45,000 more votes than voters. And that's a problem. You should never have more votes than actual voters to vote them. It makes no sense. But instead, they just kind of go, oh, well. And down there, because I was talking to the Board of Supervisors, the ROV said, well, the people who did the logs, because they based it on the logs, right? We're going to count them and get all the logs done and add it together and then see how many votes we have. And he discounted the work his own staff did to make the logs and said they're tired. It's a long day, all this. And so they're 45,000 behind. And it's like, that does not make sense. So hopefully, we can get on board, because if you do it this way, there's no question. You can actually check and say, are there 45,000 more votes starting out before you ever count anything else? Because once you have the recording, you can't do it again. You can't go back and go, oh, I'm missing 40,000 votes. Let's put some more in.
Yeah.
Like they did in Georgia. Except I think that was 300,000, wasn't it, or something
President
like that?
Trump, it's no accident that he used the term that there's truckloads of evidence of voter fraud in California, and they're about to disclose it. I don't know when, where, how, but I can't wait. But it's not an accident. He said truckloads. Well, there were semi-trucks full of fake ballots.
Oh, were there?
That were discovered down in SoCal.
Well, another problem with the system they have is that they have made it so that they can actually get rid of all the extra ballots. Whenever you have an election, you have extra ballots in case someone comes into a precinct and needs to vote that ballot. So you order about 25% more than you need, even though everybody has a ballot, sometimes 2 or 3, but you have to order extras. Well, if they order...
A friend of mine received 5 ballots to his home, and he's been in the same place for over 20 years just by himself.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And so what they've done, and what they did in Shasta County before I got there, was they actually made a retention rule that they could destroy all of those immediately after the election.
Yeah, and that's something.
Which means you've lost that evidence of all these extra ballots that could be inserted. And while the state says you have to count them, they're not counting them. In fact, they weren't even counting them before. They were just taking the books and sticking them in there. So I changed it to put them in these plastic bound areas. They had to actually count through them, because you can take one out of the middle of the book and you've got a vote. It's that easy. And but what I didn't know is that they had this retention schedule, and now they destroyed them immediately and didn't count them. So
in Shasta County.
Yeah, in Shasta County. So that won't happen next time, now that I know what they're trying to do. But it's a good way to cover your trail, isn't it? I mean, if you do a lot of inserting in the beginning and then you're done, and then at the end you just destroy it. No public oversight. No one else is counting them. Even in the best of situations, it's a terrible situation.
There's one question you didn't answer, though. Maybe it's because you don't want to, or maybe you just kind of forgot the question.
What's the question?
Ballpark percentage of registrar voters, election clerks like you who are actually interested in free and fair elections.
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
You know them all, though, don't you?
I don't know them all. I've only been here since May.
Okay.
So I don't know. There are several that I've talked to that seem ready to embrace it. They're a little afraid of, having the Secretary of State come down and argue with them. But everything's on the up and up. Just make sure that your system is clean and they'll have no complaints.
Secretary of State we have now is just an absolute train wreck. Shirley Weber wobble, but she doesn't fall down. She's been doing it a while. But look how dirty our elections are. So I put her right at the top of the dirtiness. I pray for you. I pray for your safety. I pray for your health. I pray for your success. I pray that you are effective. And
that'll be up to you.
It is, but
the citizens
and
of
the Lord,
right.
Lord willing, He protects you and keeps you healthy and keeps you safe. Because I know you've probably got a lot of enemies in the state of California.
I got a death threat the minute I fired the assistant, who's now running against me, by the way. But I got a death threat carved into the trunk of my car. So we've had a lot of issues with I call them my little moronic socialist people. And they're up there yelling, screaming, they're just idiots. They're crazy. And they do that all the time. Every board meeting, they're up there screaming. And it used to be Kevin Cry, but now that I'm on the scene, they yell about me and Kevin Cry. So I'm pretty thankful for that because that's pretty nice, Only if they ever support you do you want to run and go, oh no, I'm doing something wrong.
I would say too, if there's some people, if they're friends of mine and they like me, I'm doing something wrong.
I'm doing something wrong.
Well, you're one of my heroes, sir. You're absolutely one of my heroes, and I pray for your success. I really do. Thank you so much. You're going to be on the stage tonight and part of this Take Our California Back event in Stockton and at the Harvest Bible Church. As a matter of fact, where we are. It's an honor, sir. It's an honor. Sir. I think you're fantastic.
Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. This is Jim Shoemaker. He's been on my show many times, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not enough. I need to do it more often because I became a fan of his when I attended a California Republican Assembly convention down in Bakersfield. And Jim comes riding up on his Harley, and I'm like, who's this dude? And he comes in hooting and hollering and wearing the hat, and I'm like, okay, this is my kind of people right here.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Baby.
We've been friends ever since.
Amen.
You are running for Assembly, California State Assembly.
The 9th Assembly District, you bet.
Bring in the Shoemaker. Come a little closer here.
Okay, let's get in here.
Tell me something that you were telling everybody at the press conference that just stunned me. I had no idea.
Oh, on the water.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
We are not keeping our water, even though I don't remember when that election was, but we overwhelmingly said, yes, set this money aside to start storing water.
Yeah, to build storage. Yeah, back in 2014,
is that it?
When we passed the Water Bond Act, and we were supposed to start building more water storage. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the bigger picture, what we've been dealing with over the years, and why we keep dropping so much water through the Delta, and understand all our water goes through the Delta. Mm-hmm. Okay, so instead of sending it down south or into the farming area where we could recharge the aquifers, the farmers get their allotments of water.
Right, which they have water in the reservoirs for big fires, like
like
Palisades.
Yeah, and the Palisades and all over. I mean, when you understand, they're dumping water to flush out the bay. San Francisco has been polluting the bay along with all the cities in the bay because they haven't updated their wastewater treatment plants. And so they dump raw sewage. Well, to flush the bay out, you have to run more water through that to flush it out into the ocean.
Isn't that illegal?
And so, it should.
Illegal?
This is where these green environmental whack jobs, they don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to look in the mirror and realize they're the ones causing this problem because they don't want to do what's necessary. So they keep voting in these same screwballs that we deal with in Sacramento. Now, when you look at our state water board and the jeopardizing that they're causing our farmers, our people in the Central Valley to have the necessary resources to take care of what they're doing and growing our crops and everything else, This is a problem that we've been dealing with for a long time. So we need to flush the state water board down the toilet and start putting.
So they'd wind up into the bay.
Yeah, there you go. Let them go live in that mess, because they're creating a cesspool. Mm-hmm. So what we have to do is we need to start getting back to being responsible with the water. Our state receives enough water every year, even just in rain, to supply 100% of the needs of the people, the farms, and the businesses of this state. But we have an opportunity just outside of that we need to change all of these people. Most of them are appointees of the governor. So we're dealing with the fact that as we come up to this election cycle and we have some pretty good candidates for governor, that we could change that. At the same time, we need to replace our state, a number of our assemblymen at the same time, especially some on our side that aren't even doing the job they should be doing. That's why I'm running. I've come over here at this point in time. I've now been endorsed by probably the most constitutional conservative congressman we have in the state. I received, Clint Talk's endorsement. I have received the majority of endorsements from our local central committees that make up the counties that encompass this district I'm in. I've received, I will end up with a state party endorsement even at this point because I've received.
Wait a minute, you think so?
Oh, I don't think so. I did.
For office before, and you haven't gotten a lot of traction with our own California GOP.
Well, this time I have. I have cornered 83% of the district, and in the Republican Party, you need 80% to end up with an endorsement from the state. So right now, I have got the local support from all over the district here and the majority. And so this is kind of so unique. We have numerous electeds that are kind of sitting, waiting to see, but in the background, they're very supportive. So, but around here,
why are they sitting, waiting, and seeing?
Well, when you take on an establishment, you have many issues that you have to deal with, and
including enemies in your own party.
Yes, and you've known me long enough. I'm the people. I'm one of us, and I've been in this fight a long time, trying to represent us, protect our republic that we have in this state, and try to return common sense back. So that's been the real focus. So not just the water, but the regulatory aspects that we're dealing with that are affecting us from a business standpoint, an energy standpoint, which, energy is everything in this state that reflect in.
But yet our own governor has torn down 4 dams now at this point.
Yeah, we're having that's an issue that we
hydroelectric power was great. It's easy. It's cheap.
This is what we've been dealing with, and the bigger problem in all of that is we have a lack of energy in this state because we've shut down our natural gas plants, our coal-fired plants, nuclear, and because of that, we're buying Chinese-made solar panels. We're buying Chinese windmills that cost us, billions of our dollars that would be paying workers here in the state of California is going to China.
And we saw the stupidity of it all just a few years ago when Texas had that big freeze.
That's right.
All their solar and all their wind.
And had no power.
Nothing.
And no power. So when we look at everything that we're dealing with in this state, it's self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah.
This is caused by our elected from governor on down. They have created the problem that we're dealing with today. And the only way to fix this is we need to replace and look at Democrats have controlled this state for 25 years. I'm just saying that what we're dealing with right now is we need to have a shift. We need to remove these screwballs and scumbags that we've been dealing with.
Those are good words.
Because they're the reason we have the problem. Yeah. When we have a party that doesn't know what a woman is, and you want them to be in charge, and then they're scared that they don't want to have voter ID, when what they think everybody's stupid.
You know what I can't believe how blatantly and openly Chuck Schumer, this creep from New York, is literally saying that if you force us to show IDs to be able to vote, it's going to exclude blacks and women.
Yeah, well,
blacks and women are too stupid to know how to get a driver's license.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. How do you respect a party or the people of that party that believe that? We have a very smart and educated populace today. And I'm going to tell you, that's an embarrassment to call anybody stupid that can't get an ID.
Right.
We need an ID for everyone. And then to be hypocritical like the Democrats are, when they will not allow their own members to their own state parties to vote unless they show an ID. So how do you do that? How do you not?
Irony is delicious.
There you go. This is the whole point. So with Democrats being that stupid, I would be embarrassed to be part of that party that sits there and treats people so foolishly and tries to degrade people that way. Yeah. Look I'm going to tell you right now, no party's perfect. There's all challenges everywhere. But at the end of the day, I would rather be part of something that respects all the people and understands they have an ability to think for themselves and do the right thing. And that's where we're coming from. We're on trajectory to take this seat.
You were the very first person I've heard running for office, and I've never heard anybody holding elected positions now talk about that, what's going on in San Francisco. With them dumping sewage into the bay, so they have to flush it out with the water through the Delta. I thought it was all about the Delta smelt to protect sweet little fish.
When we look at all that's going on with our Delta and our supply water, you can start to see a pattern here. They don't allow us to clean out the channels.
We can't dredge the Delta.
We can't dredge the Delta.
And we used to all
the time because you have soot coming down.
And you had big ships coming through there, coming up there from San Francisco, and now they can't even come up any further.
No, we're having problems everywhere, which also limits the water flows through the Delta and into our pumps. But now we're also dealing.
Creates flooding too.
Exactly. And so the other thing that we're dealing with is we're dealing with this what is it? I can't. Attaches to ships. It comes in the bilges.
Oh, the mussels.
The mussel. Yeah.
An invasive species.
The invasive mussel that now is infiltrating pumps all up and down the state. This thing is so invasive that what we're dealing with now is farmers have pumps in the Delta to pump water. Within a very short period of time, they're plugged up. They can't pump. These things are so bad now that they're getting into our water supply areas, in our reservoirs, and it's spreading. Now, this is all caused because, you want to protect the borders. Where's our guys that used to inspect ships when they came into the harbors?
We're bringing the mussels in with them.
We're bringing the mussel and in their bilges. And when they're bringing them in their bilges, we used to have a program that would limit that so it couldn't be done inside our ports. And these Chinese ships are coming in, dumping their bilges, and this is how we ended up with this invasive mussel. So this is another problem we are dealing with, our farmers are dealing with, our state is having to deal with, and it's affecting the recreation.
I can't even imagine how to deal with that now at this
point. Well, it has.
Is there a mussel killer? Can you call in pest control?
Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to find. The state, they're trying to find an answer to stop this because the millions.
Are they really trying?
Yeah, they are now because this is affecting so many.
They give money to NGOs, the mussel NGOs.
Yeah. Well, it's not like the Somali,
the anti-mussel defamation
it's not like
league,
the Somali, child care facilities,
the mussel layering center.
Yeah, exactly. But when we're dealing with all of this is stuff that is self-inflicted. Yeah. This is something that we had a program to watch and protect.
The high-speed rail is not going to pay for itself, son. That money's got to be used for something.
I don't know. They're throwing our money away everywhere they can.
Yeah.
I know they didn't give me any.
No,
I don't know. Maybe they gave it to you. I'm not sure.
No, sir.
But this is our problem. Accountability, we don't have any. We're looking at where we are with the environment. We're looking at the water. We're looking at all of these issues that affect everything that we deal with, from just living here in the state of California. Our cost of living's high. Why? Because our energy costs are high.
How about that? We've had how many refineries leave now? Shut down completely? Valero, Phillips 66, Exxon's gone.
Yeah, and
we got $8 a gallon gasoline coming by this summer. Probably.
It's coming, and right now we're shutting pipelines down because we don't have enough flow going through them, and you can't afford to be trucking all of that crude oil to the refineries. That adds another cost.
As much as Governor Hairdo hates Texas and Florida, a lot of oil is coming from there, isn't it?
Not to us.
Not to us.
Not to us.
No, we're buying from Iran.
We're buying from all over the world. Yeah, and people don't understand.
We were buying from Venezuela.
Yeah, well, the Trump might send one of those confiscated ships our way.
So thank you, President Trump.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe one. But our dilemma comes down to, because of our elected officials, our governor, our leaders within the legislature, they keep passing all these crazy bills and regulations on top of regulations. We're receiving refined oil into our state from other countries. So now all those great paying jobs at these refineries are somewhere else. So our own economy is suffering. When Valero shuts down, you're losing, I forgot what they are. They're about 8-9% of that oil supply in California. Now the
gasoline supply.
The gasoline. Now the other thing is there's
and diesel.
Yeah, and there's an issue because they were also a supplier to the United States military. So now you're dealing with a national emergency if there's a military issue, because there's only so many refineries that we have on the West Coast. And I believe Chevron down in El Segundo is the last major refinery that supplies military fuel and stuff. So California, like the Valero plant, I think it's Richmond. It's in Richmond. I think, if I remember correctly, it's like 78 or 87% or something of the budget for the city of Richmond.
Yeah, Benicia. So when you look at the fact that where's that city going to get its budget from? Now, here's the other problem. These same cities used to file lawsuits against the refinery. So it's like shooting your golden goose. Oh, yeah.
The golden goose that was dropping millions of dollars into an economy for the nonprofits to take care of all those little things that they like to do outside of the tax structure that was being supplied.
Speaking of corporations, big companies leaving,
that
are hurting the local economy where they employed so many. Anheuser-Busch. What's that going to do to Fairfield? They're gone. They're gone.
Well, think of it. Think of the beer. Where does the hops come from? That affects the farmers. That affects the trucking industry. That affects everything else. Take Hillmar leaving, that supplies all the cheese for pizza, all your Parmesan cheese. They built $1 billion factory in Texas. Okay, now your pizza is going to cost another $2 more now just to get the same cheese on it, because it's coming from out. But here's the thing people need to understand is the effects of one company and how it affects so many other areas.
Right.
And that is just like with that cheese. All the dairy, say they take in 150,000 gallons of milk a day to produce that cheese. What are all the farmers that were supplying that? What are they going to do? Now, what about the trucking? What about the feed? What about all?
Many of those trucking companies not coming into California because of, again, regulations.
Exactly, overregulation and all the other. So we are at the breaking point in California. The billionaires are leaving. You can't keep taxing people and think they're going to stay. We have the right to leave. They're going to leave. And so they are. The businesses are leaving that supply the tax base to the state of California.
They passed a law. I love how the Democrats love to pass laws without us getting any say in them.
Yeah.
That now they're going to start taxing people who move out of the state.
Well,
how do they do that?
Well, that's how nuts this really is.
And it's happening.
Well, they're going to try, but it's illegal for them to do that. It's unconstitutional.
They don't care.
Well, that's the problem with California. Here's the worst one. Say you worked for California and you were under the CalPERS or STRS retirement. Who controls that? California. So if they want to tax you when you leave, you're messed up.
They're going to do it automatically.
That's
They'll
right.
take it right out of the payment that's supposed to be going.
You're
to
going to lose it. And because of that, I mean, think about that. So if you work for the state today, or you have anybody involvement in that, you better reconsider putting a little more away on your own private Roth IRA to protect yourself. Because if the state can control your retirement, what's going to happen?
There's this new investment too I've heard about called gold and silver. Seems to be doing pretty well. I don't know.
I wish I had bought more.
I know, exactly. I wish I actually had some. The string from my grandfather's all I got.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
silver I've got.
Well, hang on. How much is that worth?
I don't know. Well, now more.
Yeah.
You're an absolute joy. I consider you a great friend. I admire you and respect you, and you don't quit.
No, we're in a battle.
So where do we find you? How do we
go to what is it? Vote Shoemaker 2026.com.
Shoemaker,
that's our website.
Like making shoes.
Yeah. When you see there,
SHOEMAKER.
there you go.
Vote Shoemaker 2026.com.
That's it.
Pleasure, my friend. Pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
God
sir.
bless
Go
you.
get him. He's going to be on stage tonight. Cal, you're here representing the John Birch Society, as you always are. I appreciate what you all do so very much. I'm glad to see people finally waking up in our own party and going, hey, you know these JBS people? They may have been right all along.
I think people are waking up to a moral basis. When I met with G. Edward Griffin, I asked him, I said, what are some examples of a moral basis, or how does a moral basis help create a free society? And he gave a very good answer, and it's in history, and Cicero even talked about it quite a bit.
I'm just a good old boy from Bakersfield. I can't even spell Cicero.
From Greece, yes. Well, there's a lot of great books that help us understand the foundational roots of the principles of liberty by which the Constitution was established. As Benjamin Franklin said, the essence of liberty is a limitation on government. And so that's partly what the John Birch Society does, is help to publish the essential parts of why the and I didn't pose for that flash, but that's okay. But studying the how our representatives vote. So there's 4 basic things to restoring freedom in America. The first is we have to have a moral basis. Otherwise, we don't deserve a better government than we are, do we? And so we must be righteous. We must have some moral basis. There is rights and wrongs. There is honesty. And we want to strive for that honest side of this pendulum, so we can swing to have the Lord's blessing in helping to raise up mighty fine individuals like CharLee.
I pray for that.
Others.
I pray for that.
And it's in prophecy. It's in the way that history is.
Nothing changes until good people run for office.
Yes, and the people have to deserve it. So we're seeing a lot of an increase of that. Second is learning the principles of the Constitution and other founding documents that help limit government. And then also we must see that we're properly represented, and that's where the oath of office and Article 6 comes in, and helping to hold them accountable. And that's why this Freedom Index scorecard is so vital, because it holds our elected officials accountable. And we also
I love this. You're going to find this at their website too, by the way. You want to know how your elected representative is actually voting?
Yeah.
You find it at jbs.org.
And, I was amazed that the John Birch Society, I think they must have had wonderful, wonderful donors who probably donated millions of dollars that went right into publishing scorecards on state representatives across the U.S. So as a national organization, they have exceeded, I think, they have exceeded the standard in such fine and diligent ways that one only has to go to jbs.org, click on Freedom Index, search your representatives, look how they voted, and ask them if
you're
it's
thinking,
really
I like that Kevin Kiley guy. He says some good stuff. I've watched a couple of things that he posts, and he seems like he's doing a really good job. And then you look up the voting record. You're like,
we
tells a different story.
and when we show
I'm
them,
not picking on Congressman Kiley, other than he won't go on my show anymore, which is always suspect to me.
well, when we show them the scorecards, we say, look, this only represents how you vote constitutionally.
Yeah.
It may not represent your popularity.
Right.
So eventually it will, though. So you may want to be cautious about how you vote because, here's an example.
We are watching.
Here's an example of Ami Bera. He has all X's, and he's got a lifetime score of probably 0, but here's his 0 in this session.
He just, whatever the DNC tells him to do, that's how he votes.
And we highly recommend, everyone look at the Freedom Index scorecard. So seeing that we have proper representation is third, and fourth is to be involved in our civic duty process, run for office, and training people, helping people to be very efficient. And why waste time doing this whole thing, this political stuff? Just get back to principles. If you have principles, run for office and hold the line. Otherwise, why are you trying to run for office? If you're not going to follow the oath, don't even enter the race. But here's another publication that the New American did. This is called a reprint of one of our magazines regarding the United Nations, Power Grab. And everybody who's learned about Agenda 21 learned probably that, I would say, back to when William Jasper went to Rio in 92, and the UN established this treaty that reeled everybody in 175 countries into the UN's program of sustainable development. And
started off Agenda 21. Now it's like Agenda 2035. They keep pushing it out and pushing it out. But what he's talking about is the United Nations.
Because we've helped publish information.
It is the United Nations plan for the one world government, the new world order. That is the bottom line, what it is.
Yeah, and pushing it out is really important. Push it out till it gets established.
until the UN is gone.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that I
pray that President Trump follows through on the little hints he's dropped about the United Nations. But yet, even though we had not been paying into it, they've been screaming that we're causing them to go broke because we're not paying the money that we owe them. We owe them. They're here in the United States of America. They're on our soil, and we pay more than any other country to be in the United Nations. And now President Trump has said, "Oh, okay, we'll pay it."
Part of that is because of the language of the principles. And I love the quote that summarizes it best, certainly for everybody who's new to the UN idea. The quote is by Ezra Taft Benson. He said, whereas the Constitution is founded on the ideas of limited governmental power, the United Nations Charter is founded upon the ideas of unlimited governmental power with no meaningful restraints.
These creeps during the Obama administration started shouting that they wanted to be the police force for the world with their little light blue helmets.
Yeah, it's
scary. It's insane.
Oh yeah, last time I did an interview with you, I said I'm trying to get on the endangered species list, and I really think I deserve to be.
I think you do too,
and I know you do too.
Cal Clark, I know you got to get inside. Thank you, Cal. Anyway, this is Pastor Mark Butler, and this is a political event you're hosting at your church. Aren't you afraid of getting in trouble or making people angry?
No, not at all. I don't. We're not endorsing in any one individual candidate. We're letting everybody share their things. And I think the church has to be involved. I don't really believe in the separation from church and state.
There is no such thing in the Constitution.
That's exactly right. I agree with you 100% on that. And so we want to make it available, and we do. And I'm not, I'm not afraid of that because I don't feel like we're doing anything wrong.
I don't either. Okay. But there's a whole lot of up in the area where I live, further north from here. Folks at the Central Committee, the county where I am, we were trying to set up just to get people registered to vote at high school and college campuses. Got all kinds of pushback from that, as you can imagine. No surprise. What surprised me were the churches.
Yeah.
Churches were all saying no. And the churches that did say yes, we had people, Christians, coming up to us screaming at us about separation of church and state, and I'm going to complain to the pastor, and I'm going to make sure this never happens again. You're not welcome here.
Well, we saw that in 2020. We saw that, how it came down on all the churches that crumbled in that. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have, is that people don't want to step up. They don't want to be a part of their community. They don't want to face issues that we need to do. And we realize that we're getting all of these different folks in office that are not helping us, not doing. I mean, I was born and raised in California, so I want this state to come back.
So do I. I'm a California kid as well. But the left owns the media. Absolutely owns it.
Exactly.
Fortunately, the media is crumbling so dramatically. And guys like me, alternative media, are just coming in strong and showing a different take and a different voice. And they're freaking about it, that's for sure. And they're coming out in droves. And I believe it's only going to get worse. Have you had, like, for example, there's one church up in my area where that pastor stayed open during the COVID shutdown.
Yeah.
Opened up again, said, no, we're not closing our church. Antifa showed up. Media showed up. They were trying to villainize them. They're trying to kill people, spreading COVID and all that. Have you experienced that?
Well, we didn't close either. We did not close down in 2020. That was one of the biggest things that we didn't do. And thank God in our county, we had a great sheriff and great deputies. And even though we got called every Sunday saying, hey, we got complaints, but we're not going to shut you down. And so during that whole time, we were blessed in that. And, you know, I didn't understand the whole process of why other churches got this way and what was taking place. And, you know, opposition comes when people don't understand something and they don't realize the magnitude. And we know on the other side with the left and with Democrats and all that, Antifa and all that, you know, they're all getting paid to do all that, you know, come against us. But the good thing about now is just you're talking about social media. That's where this younger generation, that's where they go to. They're not on TV. They don't really care.
Yeah, but guys like me are being shut down there.
Yeah, they are being shut down.
I got deplatformed off Facebook and Instagram. All my pages deleted. I can't even get back on there again. It's really hurt. So we're taking the hit on the conservative media side very badly in social media right now. I'm not the only one.
No, there's a lot. I mean, we've endeavored to do things. We've only been shut down once from the internet for Facebook and or YouTube said, hey, you're too political. But that was only one time. We only had only one time that it was done. And we continue to have a community action team in our church. We have, you know, and obviously I'm not afraid because I think we need to get it out. I think my people need to know what's going on. And if we don't know who the candidates are, if we don't know what the issues are, then how are we going to help them?
Mm-hmm. I wish more pastors felt the way you do, and I wish more pastors had your kind of guts. I'm serious. I'm really serious. They're not taking their role seriously as far as I'm concerned as leaders of the church. The Black Robe Regiment.
Yes, exactly.
During the revolutionary times and the independence of the United States of America from England, it was the pastors who were telling the congregation, here's what's going on, here's what's happening, here's how we can get involved.
Well,
they're not doing it now.
I agree with you with all that. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you that, and we need to do that. And I agree with that's what I would be. I mean, if I was going to do that, I would, you know, take off my collar, grab my gun, and I would be the one going out with it. And my congregation knows that. And I just, you know, I feel like we need that. That's why we have what we're doing here. It's why we want to do, because if we don't have a voice, and the church has so many people coming, they need to be able to speak forth. And yes, our first and foremost is getting people and winning people to Jesus and sharing the gospel. But I think we got to share truth.
I met David Collenberg down in San Diego. He drove all the way down there from up in Siskiyou County, north of Redding, right close to the Oregon border. And I had already heard about him and had talked to him, but I didn't really get to hang out with him much until I met him in San Diego. You went all the way down there for that. This is your fourth? Is this the third or fourth event?
Oh, no, I'm at like California 7 or 8.
It
seems like. I don't know.
Are you going to the one in Bakersfield? Is that next week?
I don't know. So
2 weeks?
I wanted to have this interview with you because
he's running for governor, by the way. Collenberg.
26.com.
Collenberg, COLLENBERG 26.com. All right. What do you got?
So, you know, I started my campaign in November of 2024. And
that far back.
It's that far back.
Wow.
You know, it's way before anybody else.
Yeah.
And we've been giving it one hell of a fight.
Yeah.
And it's been really good. It's been an amazing experience.
I don't think I want to hear what you're about to say. I'm getting a bad feeling.
And I have a lot of people to thank, especially Rex, especially you, and especially Kim, because and I think June of 25 is when we connected. And prior to that, I had nothing. I had nobody that I was even talking to or anything. And you guys reached out, and we did shows, and we just been connecting, becoming good friends.
Your social media, by the way, presence has exploded.
Yes, so
a lot of people are getting your message. And
yeah,
like it.
so it's been really good. But we're in a situation where we have top 2 candidates that are making a lot of noise and doing very well, and
because they have the California GOP behind them.
Absolutely, and we have till March 6th, and after that, it's either you're in or you're out.
Fish or cut bait.
Yeah, and so currently, I don't believe the top 2 are going to get out of the race. I think they're going to go to the primaries. So with that leaves any of the smaller candidates, I believe, no opportunity for a chance. So I am going to suspend my campaign for governor. I want to thank Rex. I want to thank you. I want to thank my 160,000 followers on Facebook. I want to thank Kim. I want to thank David Serpa. He's been amazing.
Yeah. And he's running for treasurer now. He announced he stepped down in the governor's race. He's running for treasurer. Yeah, David Serpa, SERPA.
But the good news is I'm not done. So I am going to drop out of the governor race, and I'm going to run for lieutenant governor.
Dude, that's fantastic. That's an extraordinary idea.
So that is my plan. So I'm not going nowhere. I think it's probably.
And here's the deal: even if Steve Hilton and Sheriff Bianco keep running for governor and they win and everything, this is a separate election. Lieutenant governor is a completely separate election. They don't run as teams.
Correct.
So you got a great chance, buddy.
Correct. Yes. So
a great chance.
And I think that with the situation, because of Hilton and Bianco and their following, the vote, we need to not split the vote so deep that we don't win something. And so I think that with the current situation, I think that's the best idea. I think that will put me in a better position. I think that the followers that the top 2 candidates have, a lot of them like me, but I don't have the name recognition they have to become governor. But I think that I can follow right behind them. And once they take me out of the governor race and put me in the lieutenant governor race, I will gain a lot more momentum. So I think that's the best, smartest thing to do.
That takes a lot of guts and courage right there, because he's put so much, as you just heard, so much work and time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears. Plus, he's a successful farmer, runs not only his own farm but also his own store that sells what he sells. And I know how much work it is. Growing up working on ranches, I know how many hours every day you have to do that. I always thought, geez, David, how do you do it? Running for lieutenant governor is basically an open field. There's only one other conservative candidate that I know of, and that's Evie Lynch, who's running for lieutenant governor.
Also Gloria Romero.
Thank you. Forgot about her. That's right. Good point.
Yeah. There's some other candidates too, but I don't think they're really making any noise. They're not even campaigning, so I think they're just listed. So, but I think that's the smartest call at this point. So, I think that's what I'm going to pursue.
I think that's a hard choice.
It is.
And God, you've put so much into this. But
if I do that and I'm successful, 4 years,
exactly. Exactly right.
Yeah. So I think if I go for lieutenant governor, David Serpa for treasurer,
we need a good secretary of state.
Yep. So
we need a good attorney general.
Yep. I think other people that are running for governor that may not have as much momentum too should look at other options of, let's fill this, let's make it happen, let's flip it the way we need to. And that's what I'm going to do. So
awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I admire you. Thank you for making your announcement.
I'm glad that I got to do it with you, because you were the first person I ever did an interview with or a podcast or anything. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out my best way to do it, and I seen you tonight. I'm like, I have to do it with CharLee. So,
I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
So the website still applies.
The website still applies. Everything still applies. I'm just going to change a few things. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Whew, including filing new paperwork, don't you?
I can amend it. Yeah. So
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I can amend it. So I've already.
I have
looked
no
at
idea
all
how
of
it works. I've never run for office.
So I technically haven't filed to run for governor, the actual paperwork.
Oh.
I've been waiting because I didn't want to file and then back out and whatever. So I'm going to just move my notice of intent and my campaign finance to.
David needs money. How much does it cost just to register or just to sign up to run for governor? What's it cost?
For governor, it's about $5,000. For
Okay.
lieutenant,
So-
it's about $3,000.
Okay, so he could use some help. He could use volunteers, make phone calls, get the vote out, and donate. Buy him a cup of coffee, buy him a tank of gas, and he's got big tractors, so buy him a big tank of diesel.
I don't know about that, but
Anything you can do. And one more time, it's Collenberg26.
Collenberg26.com. Yes. And I will update my sites as soon as things are official. So, yeah.
That's awesome, brother.
You were about to cry. I was nervous.
Not cry, but I've been in this battle with you now for a little bit, and I know what you've put into it.
Yeah.
I know how hard it's been, especially with your family and everything
Absolutely.
else.
My family has been amazing.
Yeah.
That, my kids go with me on these events. I mean, it's, I'm very grateful.
Yeah,
So,
man. All right. Collenberg for lieutenant governor. There you go. I'm not supposed to endorse anybody because I got to put everybody on. I keep saying I'm not going to endorse any candidates. But lieutenant governor. All right, brother.
We'll tell everybody.
This is John McBride. I never even heard of him until today. I was at the Farm Bureau, San Joaquin County Farm Bureau, for the press conference, and that was my first time experiencing John. And I liked what you were saying very, very much. And then tonight at the little debate forum thing, you did an extraordinary job.
Thank you.
This has always been about governor. Who's running for governor? Conservatives running for governor. But Kim has opened it up to other folks running for office.
Right.
And you are running for what?
I'm running for Congress in California's 9th Congressional District.
Which is where?
Lodi, parts of Lodi. Prop 50's really kind of divided it up.
Dude, what are we going to do about
parts
Prop
of
50?
Stockton, parts of Manteca, Tracy Mountain House, and then it goes over to Oakley, Pittsburgh, and Antioch in Contra Costa County.
Okay.
So it's kind of a spread out district. Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever run for anything before?
I ran 2 years ago, and several people that I respect spiritually told me I was running in 24 to get my name out for 26. So as soon as it was official that Kevin Lincoln lost the 9th district, I entered my name to run again right away. And very interesting, I just share this story. So I entered in December, and Jim Shoemaker, who you heard tonight, he entered the congressional race in the spring.
You're running for Congress as well.
Yes. Yeah. So he entered the same race in the spring. And then in the
This is one
summer,
against you.
and then in the summer, Kevin Lincoln entered that same race. Prop 50 came along, and God parted the waters.
Screwed everything.
Jim Shoemaker, who's a really good campaigner, went to the Assembly District. Kevin Lincoln, who's a really good fundraiser, went to the 13th Congressional District. So God parted the waters for me. And I honestly believe God can part the waters for me against Josh Harder, a Democrat with a 0% score on the Freedom Index.
Yeah, Josh Harder. I did not realize.
Yeah. Vote smarter, not harder.
Yeah, he's a train wreck.
Yes.
What town do you live in?
I live in Lodi.
Okay. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Tokay or Lodi High?
It would be Tokay. My wife went to Tokay.
Okay, attaboy. Atta-girl. Attaboy. I was Tokay High. So have you always lived there? You grown
No.
up there?
I was born and raised in Connecticut.
Oh, you said that.
My my ancestors founded Hartford, founded New Haven, founded my hometown of Wallingford. One of my ancestors was a signer of the Declaration of Independence, Lyman Hall. I went to Lyman Hall High School. And
That's pretty cool. Did you brag about that to either of the kids, or did they
at the
beat you up
time,
for it?
It wasn't,
Oh, you
A
think
little
you're
bit
better than me?
So, what's interesting though is I had the U.S. Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Gettysburg Address on my bedroom wall, and that's how I was raised. And it was made clear that my ancestry was a big part of the founding of this nation. And so
You got some great parents.
Yeah. So
you got some great parents.
So my
Are they
ancestors
still out there? Are they
no,
still
my,
around?
my both of them died. They died 2 weeks apart in 2021. And yes, my mom died from the vax. My dad died of a broken heart 2 weeks later. So
you think your mom really died from that?
No, I know she did.
Horrible.
She got the vax on a Saturday. By Saturday night, I had a call from my sister. Don't think mom's going to make it through the weekend. And she passed away the next Friday. So, yeah.
Dude.
So I know.
That's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you bring? What would you bring to anybody who's going to vote for you for Congress? McBride for Congress.
So, as a strength and conditioning coach, my tag is standing strong for truth and freedom. And those are two things we're seriously lacking is truth. I'm sorry. I've heard Josh Harder speak many times. I've never heard him tell the truth on anything.
No.
And
he's a bad man.
The other side of that is I quote Billy Graham. And Billy Graham said, "One man with courage stiffens the spines of all around him."
I always say courageous is contagious.
Yes.
Basically.
And I think there are people in Congress who are like-minded to me who lack the courage to stand up.
I've seen it. I can name names.
And I'm one, and my wife tells me I should use this story when I campaign. One of our neighbors ran into her a few weeks ago, former neighbors. And one day I was there and I heard the screaming outside our house. And I went running outside and I thought a woman was being raped. It was her dog was being attacked by a pit bull. And I ran out there and saved her dog. So I've been fighting bullies my whole life. I mean, I literally, there's another story my wife says I should tell where I took care of two Dobermans because they were pulled the dog through a fence.
No way.
So, they're dogs, but I do the same thing with people. I'm not afraid to stand up for truth and freedom.
Yeah.
And, our country is so run by special interests, self-interest, NGOs, and that has to end. We're headed rapidly towards a one world government, and the brakes.
That's the plan.
The
I've
brakes
said all
have to
along.
be
That's
put
why
on
they're
that.
trying to dismantle and destroy California and start by getting rid of the middle class. Because if you can bring down California, you can bring down the United States.
Right.
As California goes, so goes the rest of the nation.
And the meeting with the farm board today really is an indication of they're doing everything they can to destroy the livelihood of farmers.
Yeah.
So if you look on my campaign material, and this has been from the last election, is the livelihood of the American farmer and the integrity of our food supply must be protected. And because, again, as I shared tonight, if we have to get all our food from overseas or we're eating crickets, that's a national defense issue. They can starve us. Another country can starve us.
Sure.
And we got the greatest farmland in the world right here
And
in
you
California.
can't get it back.
No.
Once they leave, these families, at one point, as one of the points was made tonight, there were millions of farmers in the United States of
Yes.
America. Now it's down in the hundreds.
And you have the whole
That's
issue
it.
with cows.
Oh, yeah.
What they do to global warming.
Right.
Cows will graze on lands that you can't plant. You can't plant anything, but what those cows will eat is the grass that we can't eat, and they turn that grass into food.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a case where, over in Monterey, they closed down 12 dairy/cattle farms over in Monterey
Serious?
because of global warming.
No.
They got sued by
How
an
do you
environmental organization
And sued them right out of business.
because they were hindering the natural habitat of the deer. 12 farms.
And that's how they do it. They own the courts.
Yep.
Especially in California.
Yeah.
That's how they do it.
So, but and those are things that I post about on my social media. I try to make a post every day, but Sundays. And I'm fortunate that my daughter and one of my sons are very very gifted graphic design.
Good.
And so my son creates the memes for me. But there are things like judges. There's things like farming. I post every day, about the things that are going on.
And that is where again? On your
all my social media. My political social media is John McBride CA9. Because again, when I got in, I was never a politician. I was a coach. My whole life, I was a coach. And so I didn't even know it was CD9, California 9th District, right? CA9.
Oh, shoot.
But I didn't know. And that's how much of a rookie I was.
So
2 years
CA
ago.
for California.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. And McBride, of course, capital M, small c, capital B, RIDE.
Yeah. John McBride for Congress, and either the FOR or the number.com. John McBride for Congress.com.
Oh, man. Go get them. I got to follow you. I got to start getting involved in what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
Help in any way I possibly can.
And as was mentioned tonight, and I forgot to say this, the more shares, the more likes, the more comments, the algorithm gets exploding.
Makes a big difference. Same with this show. So if you could share this now.
Very good.
You want to get John out there a little bit more and you like what he's saying, there's a good way to do it is just by sharing the show.
Very
Thank
good.
you, sir.
Tink you.
Honor and a privilege.
Yes, honor for me also. Thank
All right,
you.
buddy. Talk to you soon. Now from the Harvest Bible Church in Stockton, this is the Take Our California Back event with all the conservative candidates who are running for office. Follow them, help them, share this show, follow me, contact me, even schedule a slot to be on the show, book a guest slot through my website, and you can give too if you can. Please pray about it. I could use some help. As a matter of fact, I've been invited to go to a child sex trafficking awareness event in North Carolina in a few weeks, and I got to raise money for that airfare. So if you can help me at CharLeeSimons.com, there's several ways there. And buy some merchandise too. That'd be nice as well. All right, I'll talk to you later. CharLeeSimons.com, CharLeeSimons.com. May God bless you and keep you. Thank you, Spike. You're a good boy tonight. You're a good boy. May God bless America. Most importantly, America bless God.